your name.
Don Hallmark,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties as a member of
the duties as a member of
the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone
the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone
of the City of Odessa,
of the City of Odessa,
State of
State
Texas,
of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, if I can get
Amen.
you to sign, please. Click it on. Thank you so much, and you're welcome to have a seat.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Dan, you can sit up.
No, I'm gonna sit here. No, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna sit here.
All right, how are you doing?
Doing well. Welcome.
Oh, hey, bro.
Now you reach out.
Greg got a big $100 sign.
Yeah,
Blame it on Jeff.
Nice. This is so you won't breathe on me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't go.
That one needs some
But there
real
is-
tape.
No.
Wasn't there something here?
Yeah, there was something this morning.
I can't remember what. Zoning board, I think?
Yeah.
I think it was zoning.
Hey Craig, Jason Harrington called a little while ago, said he was not gonna make it, just a heads up.
Toby emailed me just saying.
Oh, okay, okay.
He's not gonna be able to make it.
Who did? Toby, oh, okay, okay.
So,
All right, we've got a quorum, so I think we're.
I think 5 of us count, so.
Well, that's not right. Celia loves to put up with my shenanigans. She loves it.
She told me that she was gonna give me an assigned seat, is that?
Back over here, yeah. I was back here sitting high. I had to make him a little bit. That'll be all right. Hal will keep me coming. He'll keep me entertained.
He runs in the same circle though.
Yeah. That's true. Very true. Yeah, well, I'll stay with Celia. I want to hear about Sinaloa. That's what I want to hear about. Is Toby not gonna be? Where's Jason now? Toby's at Aspen, I bet. I thought he was Philip. Is Toby in Aspen?
I'm not sure. You gonna call and ask?
I do. I want you to call him and say, where are you? Where are you? You should be here. Tell him where he's going to.
Now, you put the one back that has the
I don't
seconds.
like this one. Well, you know, I think our building
Sort of
services
figure out
guy's
how
not
to
doing what he
it's
should
a
do.
countdown.
Phil, let's have a discussion with our building services director about this old crummy clock up there.
How about that clock, man?
We
What's wrong
want
with
the
that clock?
one out there on the elevator up here.
That's all you need is the time, you don't need the weather and the temperature like.
Well, I do too.
Well, we need the seconds. We need to be able to count. All right, 3 o'clock, let's go. All right, well, it being 3 o'clock, I will call this meeting to order. All right, so, number one on the list, approval of the minutes from our last meeting. I believe everybody received a copy, and there is a copy in the packet. Anybody have any
I
updates
move
or
that we approve.
got a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, minutes passed. All right, number two, I need a motion to remove from the table the discussion about the bylaws.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so, Mr. Jones?
Okay, so these are the TIRZ bylaws that we went back and we basically licked our calf over again, so to speak. And I think instead of me sitting here reading it all to you, have you all had an opportunity to review it and everything? So what I need you to do now is just a simple motion to adopt.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay?
Okay.
I know we've been going through this, but, on, the section, Article 2, Section C,
Okay, hang on.
does that not conflict with Article 4, Section 3? And what I'm referring to, Section C, it says, any participating taxing jurisdiction, including city council, who are deemed to have waived the right to appoint a director of the board, that they are otherwise entitled, shall have the position filled by nomination approval of an eligible person by the city council as a whole. Well, back over in the other section, Article 4, Section 3, it says the entity can appoint somebody to replace those people.
Right.
That's-
But what it does here though in C is it's basically the taxing jurisdiction, which would be MCH. If MCH decides not to appoint someone, then city council can step in and appoint someone. That make any sense?
Well, it makes sense, but it doesn't say that. I mean, that's what, I mean, cause, you know, well, I guess the way it does, I don't know, it just seems, to me, it seems a conflict, cause it's saying that, you know, it should be up to the, I mean, cause you can have up to 10 members, 7 members, whoever it was.
Right.
It's okay. It should be that if the entities, you know, should have the right to, you know, appoint somebody, which it says that.
Right.
The basis says here, if they don't, the city council has to appoint somebody.
If they waive it, that's the trick. If a taxing jurisdiction waives its right to appoint a member to the board of directors,
Okay.
let's say MCH decides, well, we're just not gonna appoint someone. And we sit here and we go on for about 3 or 4 months. Well, we're gonna go out now to city council for the city of Odessa,
Okay.
and
I
they'll
got you.
appoint, that's the
Okay, so
little,
we're saying that
Yeah.
they, theoretically, the entity would have the opportunity to appoint somebody.
Yes.
but if they say,
don't after a certain amount of time.
we don't wanna do it,
Okay.
and so I'm just trying to make sure that we have the right
Okay.
board members.
And
that
then
we
one
have.
other thing, I think is
Okay.
just a correction, but in, same Article, 2, Section F, it looks like it's a duplicate. It says, each year the board of directors shall annually designate one member of the board of directors to serve as chairman for a 1-year term. And it says that begins on it should be, that begins after the city council has, confirmed the selection.
Ratify the selection.
And that was
Right,
updated. Did you get the
Yeah.
updated
This was updated,
Well, I thought I
and
had it.
the reason why.
in the minute packet?
Yeah, it's the one that was sent just like yesterday or a
Oh.
couple days before.
Well,
and-
I got that, but I guess I didn't.
The reason why that was done is because, one, we don't want our chairman to be cheated out of any time, right? We want you to have full.
Well, I'm not gonna get a year, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
And of course, we discussed this because
Yeah.
it makes no sense for us to, when you read it, to have, okay, 31st of December, they're automatically, well, it was March before Craig was actually
I
ratified.
questioned it because I don't want us to be left in a position without a chairman.
That's right.
So
That's
in
right.
the new ones, it says a year after it's been ratified, right? It doesn't-
Yes, sir.
It didn't have a date? Okay, I guess
Yes,
I
sir.
missed that. I was-
Here's mine.
That should be in our notes, right? I think
Yes,
we
sir.
got it. Okay.
Anyway, that's the reason we did that. Chairman and I spoke about that. It made better sense once he pointed out, hey, I don't want to be sitting here 3 months without a chairman for the TIRZ board.
Okay.
So it
Yeah,
makes
that's what I
perfect
was
sense.
thinking, because if something
Oh,
happens.
you can have
okay.
that. I got 1 million of them.
Okay.
I can get my
Yeah,
hands on it
and
anytime I
I saw
want.
that and I thought, well, if it, you know, takes, for example, city council 2 months to
Yeah.
ratify the selection.
Right.
Then say, well, you got 8 months left. So
Yeah.
that's why it should be after.
Right.
and-
So
and
that's
then
why
you
we
caught
took
that.
away
I
the
guess-
dates.
I guess
Yes,
I
sir.
missed it in the new ones then, so that's the only thing I had.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm in favor of it. So.
All right. So any other questions? So all I need is a motion and a second and a vote to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we'll take out the red and push it through and we'll get it to the chair.
Perfect. All right, number 3, consider purchase of pots for downtown.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, during our last discussion, we visited on potential purchase of flower pots for downtown Odessa. We currently have 12 pots throughout the downtown area that are in place. We went back and received quotes and costs from our Parks Department to not only purchase the pots themselves, but also to outfit those pots with the soil and the flowers to get them up and running. This is for the purchase of 12 planters, so essentially doubling what we have in the downtown footprint. The total purchase price would be $22,979.36. Breaking that out, $11,959.20 is the actual pots themselves and getting them shipped here, and then the material themselves is $11,020.16.
Okay.
So, I have not been
Yes, sir.
involved in any of this, but to me, this is another $80,000 Christmas tree. I mean, this makes no sense to me at all. I mean, I know we wanna beautify downtown, but $23,000?
I think I'm with Don here. I kind of kept thinking about this and you know, the other thing that, the other question I had, I actually reached out to him a little bit late in the day, but you know, I reached out to Keep Odessa Beautiful guys because I know at one time they had a sponsorship type program in place where they were out engaging individual and corporate sponsors to help sponsors, planners, spots, parties. They got all kinds of
Sure.
things. So you know, I'd reached out to them this morning. Unfortunately, they didn't have anybody that could speak to it. They were the director, I guess, is out of town. But
Yes, sir.
you know, I would like to just kind of put a pin in this thing. Maybe work with them, see if maybe we could get some sponsorship and all. I understand the desire to do something downtown and to show some progress, but you know, I really question if this is the thing we you know, that we ought to be spending $23,000 on.
The first thing I thought of is, how are we gonna secure this? I mean, how many of these are gonna be in someone's houses next to us?
Well, there's already 12 downtown.
They haven't lost any of them?
Haven't lost any of them.
No, they're made of a plastic resin material, and what we discussed at the last meeting, Mr. Hallmark, that they do get hit by vehicles every now and then, and they're a plastic that's I wouldn't say unbreakable, but we can pop them back out and put them back to use. They are rather heavy. I think it would take once they get the soil and the plant material in them, it's going to be a couple thousand pounds trying to move those pots.
Okay, well, I didn't see them, I just,
They're on the corners of Grant Street and some of them on Texas also, I think.
never seen one, so I don't know.
They look good.
So I've had several, at least two, reach out, and I've seen on Facebook, you know, very much applauding the city for the
Yes, sir.
12 that are there. They look nice. It's an easy addition. I feel like when we were discussing the spending of our funds with council, that was one of the things that was asked of us to do, was to do these types of projects to add beautification downtown. So I know that was a thought for the money. That's one of the things we can do with this money. It's something that is out there and people seem to enjoy already.
Well, Craig, you also remember we talked about it, I mean, that, but we were also trying to do something to distinguish where downtown is and what's going on, something's going on in downtown. That was part of
So
and those
it-
were fairly
It does
reasonable.
help identify that
Right,
footprint
yeah, and then,
downtown.
you know, they look nice and they're, you know, so, but it's just, you know, whatever the committee wants to do.
Am I looking at this right too, Philip, that there's an $8,900 cost to maintain, and I'm assuming that would be an annual?
So, sir, this is the initial maintenance from our Parks Department. They're telling us it requires an initial watering, a little more care, but once they are put into place, the pots, if you've seen them now, I think they've got 4 or 5 different types of plant material in them. Once those are established, they don't need as much care. They have a self-watering mechanism where they can fill them up once a week, and the pot is able to water itself. And so once they establish that cost is for the first year, and that wouldn't be no longer needed other than the water.
Do we know what that ongoing cost Do we know what it's costing us to service the 12 that are down there?
I do not have that with me today, sir, but that's something we can definitely pull if it's requested. Yes, sir.
All right. So any more discussion? Do we need to take action on this? What is our?
What I would suggest to the chairs is to seek a motion whether to table, to deny, or approve the purchase at this point.
So I will ask for a motion to approve the purchase, table, we'll come back to it, or deny the purchase.
I would make a motion that we table it and try to reach out to Keep Odessa Beautiful and see how they might be able to help with the project.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'm saying no.
I'm saying no.
I'll vote to table right now. I
Okay.
think we need to move forward, but hopefully our next meeting within, we'll have something on, because,
Okay.
you know, we've been sitting long enough. We need to, you know.
All right. So the item is tabled. We will get some more information and come back to this.
Sure.
My list I'm working on. Number 4 is the master plan update.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we emailed out a copy of the survey that was drafted by Kimley Horn to the group. Mr. Hallmark, it's in your packet for you to review. These were the initial questions, and these are similar questions that Kimley Horn has used in some of their other downtown master plans. So what we wanted to open up for discussion, if there were items that the board wanted to add, subtract from the survey. They do have the website ready to go to put the survey out, and then also the mapping mechanism where you can drop the pins, and I'll show that to the board in just a minute. But I wanted to start with the survey and have discussion on that.
And where is this, who's this going to?
So this is going to be for the downtown master plan. Anybody in our community can answer to the master plan, provide their feedback for downtown.
Okay, it's just gonna be on the website and they can go get it?
Yes, sir. And then we're also going to have, as part of the master plan, community engagement meetings. There's 3 meetings that are scheduled as part of the plan.
Are these similar to the questions that were asked in the original, when they did the original master plan back in whatever year that was?
Yes, sir. They are similar questions. They are questions that are used, as we said, typically for master plans. As we discussed, we've seen quite a bit of growth. There's questions about as far as the parking, things like that, and see if those things have improved, if they've not improved. That's what we're looking for, engaging in not only the validation of the current plan, but as we move forward with the recommendations in the new plan.
I think these are a bit more detailed than what we had before.
Yes, sir.
The only thing that I looked through, and I asked a couple people that helped go through this and see what they thought, if we could add a question about the perceived safety downtown.
Okay.
Do you feel safe when you visit downtown?
Isn't that on here?
Yeah.
Is
It should be an item that's there.
Safety is number 16.
15. Yes, sir.
Okay, I missed that.
My only suggestion is some of the, and I'm kind of like Bill, I don't remember what all the questions were last time. But I think if there's some of these, for example, you know, I don't know, if there's some of them that in the last survey, if they were overwhelmingly one way or the other, maybe we can dive down a little bit deeper in those. You know, for example, if the, you know, 80% of them said, I'm not ever going downtown, whatever example, then say, well, you know, maybe a couple of questions about why do you not go downtown? You know, I don't work there, it's too far, those types. So kind of dive down some of the things, because, you know, I know in the last one, there were a lot of things that were, you know, some of the suggestions got very few answers, and some were overwhelming one way or the other. So maybe we could kind of dig down in those things and say, well, why did they you know,
Yes, sir.
decide that way? Maybe that would help kind of give us some more information if we could.
Yes, sir. What we can also do is a suggestion, and of course we can incorporate that with the Kimley Horn Group. Something else that they provided that they could also incorporate is if someone answers, I'm looking at this now, the traffic. If they put that they're very dissatisfied with traffic downtown, it'll automatically prompt, well, why?
Okay, yeah,
Or
that's
if you
what
put,
I'm
I'm
referring
very
to.
satisfied, why? You know, what are you
That's
seeing
I
is,
was referring to,
yes, sir.
because, you know, they'll say, you know, traffic is, it's okay, and they go, well, you know, or like I said, or I'm dissatisfied,
Right.
why are you dissatisfied with, well, too many traffic lights, or too much this, or too, and like I said,
Hmm.
I think we can develop that out some, that way it gives us,
more feedback in?
right, more feedback.
Yes, sir. I can make sure we address that with Kimley Horn.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You know, for example, one of them was like I said, 6, you know, says before the pandemic, how often did you visit downtown Odessa, you know, for example? Well, if the majority of people said I'm down there once a week, that's when you would say, well, why are you down there once a week? Well, I work down there every day. Well, that's not really telling us they're coming to downtown. I mean, they work here, they gotta come here. So
Yes,
I
sir.
think things along that line, and like I said, if they can kinda really, break some of that out and say why that, you know, because like I said, on that question, it said, well, you know, like me, I'm out here every day. Well, I work 2 blocks.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Well, you'd
so.
be able, because question 1 asks, you know, are you a resident, owner, employee? Single, so you'd kind of be able to cross.
Decipher from
some
there.
of this stuff.
Use
Sure.
those to,
Yeah.
expand on that, right.
How many responses are we likely to get on a survey like this? You got any idea?
No, sir. I personally don't have an idea at this point. I can visit with Kimley Horn to see what their history has been. But of course, as we discussed at the last meeting, we're going to have our communications team working with hand in hand with us on this, posting this on social media, going to downtown businesses with flyers. We're going to look to stick our chairman up there on the news stations to talk about it.
To help or hurt?
No, well, I think that.
Hadn't hurt the food banks.
Yes, sir. So we've got a plan to begin marketing this plan out. Yes, sir.
Would you be able to kind of lay out that plan to us at
Yes,
the
sir.
next meeting?
Yes, sir.
And I've had some discussions with some of the stakeholders about how to do it, working with YPO, how to use their membership to do that. I visited with Jackie Gord, OC, how do we, you know, can we text the students a link? Same with UTPB, is there a way to engage that crowd that we're hoping to attract? So I think with the stakeholder identification meetings and that marketing plan.
Yeah, and since he said that, what about the individuality of it for the different groups? I mean, I'd love to know how many people from around the hospital are going and put something on there that can tell me, I work at the hospital and that's why I'm going down there.
Okay.
And that would make a difference to me, make sense to me.
We could do that, we could do that as part of 1C. I
See.
mean, we could
Yeah.
ask that
Right.
question, you know, if you're a downtown employee, where do you work?
That's what I was gonna ask, if it could be like the traffic, if you're, whatever your answer is and why.
Right,
You know,
sure.
If you answer downtown employee,
It'll ask you where you're sure. We can work on having that incorporated in the survey.
Don't you think Kimley Horn will do that? I mean, I think once they see this is just kind of a starting point.
a
I would
framework.
think they're gonna delve into each one of those and,
Sure. Well, it's gonna.
analyze the number of, responses they get and who those people are.
So on the update on this, could we have?
Yeah.
Kimley, we can have Kimley Horn come in to the next meeting, yes, sir. Through the survey software, I'm sure many of you have used different surveys. I think we can incorporate as much request to whether we want or whether we don't want.
If they could maybe just through Zoom or whatever, just come
Sure.
on and kind of walk us
Yeah.
through it.
Sure.
Or if you said it's ready to go, would there be an opportunity for us to have the live link to take it?
Sure, I can give the group
So
the
that we
link
can
as well.
actually see what
Sure.
comes up.
Right, but when I show you the link, and we can move over towards that, the survey's not on the link yet, and this is it's not public yet. It just
Right,
has
right,
the
right.
map, and we wanted to discuss the survey before we put it on the website.
But just as a test,
Sure.
if there'd be the opportunity to, before it goes live,
Sure, we can definitely do
Get
that,
a-
and that's the intention of having everyone look at it and work with it before we put it live. we have a map of downtown that'll be the first thing that pops up. You'll have tabs on your left side that'll show the map of downtown and then the survey there as well. But you've got the 3 buttons that was discussed by Kimley Horn of what my idea may be, and you can drop it, a pin there. So if you think that there needs to be additional lighting, you don't feel safe in a certain area, you can drop that there. If you have something that you like, you may say, I like to go to the sidebar. We need more restaurants like the sidebar in downtown. You drop that there. If you see an area that needs improvement, there's also that link there or a pin that can be dropped that says let's do better. When you drop something, it gives you that drop down where you can type in what you're praising, what you're seeing needs to be better, and what ideas you have for downtown.
Can we make menu suggestions? Will John take those?
There you go. We can do that as well.
He already gets mad every time I tell him to open your own restaurant, then you can serve whatever you want.
Good.
And so this is part of the survey, or this is part of?
They're going to be together on the same website. The map and the survey will all be together
Is
on
there
the
an
site.
opportunity to do one and not the other?
Yeah, you can definitely do the survey. It's not going to require you to, if you go in here, you can come into this website multiple times. Now, when you do the survey, it's going to ask for credentials. It's going to have you do some type of login where it just gets your information once. But if you're walking downtown today and you see you want to tag something, and then tomorrow you want to tag something else, you can continue to do that as this website stays open through the master plan process. But I can have Kimley Horn join us via Zoom on our next meeting, and they may actually have to look at our agreement. They may be due to come down for another update, another meeting with us, and we can go over the survey. Unless there's direction that we can get at this point, we can go ahead and post the survey, or we want to wait till the next meeting. We do have the website live if we're ready to start working on a marketing plan for that.
When are the community engagement days set? I don't remember.
They are September 14th, 15th, and 16th, I believe. I'm going off memory. It's in September.
I believe that's right.
But there is opportunity to move that up if there's.
At this point, we've booked that process with them, so they've booked their travel. We've reserved facilities to be able to have those meetings. We can look at moving those. I think there would be some changes that would have to take place.
Considering that timeline, maybe Craig's idea is the best one, just if they can send us out the link.
Okay.
Kind of let us play with it a little bit, give
Yeah.
them a little feedback.
Sure.
That way we're not holding it up for a long period
Yes, sir.
of time.
It does sound like that would answer the questions we've all had.
Okay.
Just to
I
be-
can have them put the survey, make that live as part of this website as well. I can send it out to the board, and if you'd like to send feedback to me, then we can get that to Kimley Horn and have that hopefully live pretty quick.
Yes, sooner the better, but having it done right.
Yeah, I agree. All right, is that the?
That's
All
it.
for
That's
the
all I've got.
update?
Unless there's other questions, happy to entertain any other questions you may have.
Anybody have any other questions? All right, discuss downtown parking.
The GIS maps up, and then the PowerPoint has the parking lot picture and the parking.
Good afternoon. How are y'all doing today?
Hello.
I wasn't at the last board meeting, but talking from Philip, I understand that there's a desire to do more diagonal parking on the side streets downtown. He mentioned to me 3rd, 4th, 5th between Lee and Texas. So what I didn't create a actual PowerPoint or anything. I was just gonna talk it through with you on the map. Let's take a look here. Okay. So we were talking about, let's talk about 3rd Street first. And basically, I think what we did, okay, let me jump around again. What it would look like would be similar to what we did on Jackson between 4th and 5th next to Torchy's, where we went in and did this diagonal parking on both sides of the street. I don't remember off the top of my head what the exact count was of the net increase from parallel parking to diagonal parking, but there was a net increase for, we basically get more parking spaces in diagonal.
A lot easier to use.
Yes, it's a lot easier. People don't have to do that back and in maneuver, which most people aren't good at. So let's talk about third, fourth, and fifth. Basically, we have the pavement width that we could do diagonal parking on both sides of the street. The only issue on most of these corridors, these streets, is right now we've got that striped two-way left turn lane, which that would have to go away for us to do diagonal parking. And each block has its own set of special circumstances. Like on this section of Third, on Third east of Grant, I probably wouldn't do any diagonal parking in that area because it's so close to this crosswalk that serves the courthouse. So each block face has its own pros and cons, but it's doable. But we would have to basically get rid of any left turn bays at Grant or get rid of these continuous two-way left turn lanes.
Is there a way to get rid of that crosswalk? That's gotta be the most dangerous crosswalk in town.
Actually, the courthouse itself requested that. So.
Yeah, we need to get them walking down the corner. I mean, it really is. I come that way about
Uh-huh.
600 times a week. And I've seen so many people almost get creamed there because you can't see, as people are coming out into traffic because there's traffic, there's
Parked cars?
parked cars.
Yeah.
If they wait for you to cross at the corner, okay, then let time cross, then you turn and somebody steps right out in front in that crosswalk.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of.
And basically, like you say, I mean, this is the ideal place to cross at the intersection. But like you and I both know, anybody parking in this parking lot, they're, especially adults, are lazy, and they're not gonna come to the intersection to cross. They want the shortest path, which is right there.
Yeah, I would, just as a side comment, I'd like us to have that conversation with the county to see how we do that, because I'm that's an accident waiting to happen.
Well, the best thing to do in that case is remove that parking, those 2 or 3 spaces that are there. If you remove those parking spaces, that would greatly increase.
Well,
Site
it's really on the courthouse side though. That's the problem. When you're coming
Westbound?
west down,
Oh.
and you're coming down here, and somebody's standing behind that car and they step out.
The same case in that is if we remove, 2, 3 parking spaces to increase that sight distance, that would. But that's a loss of parking. But that's one of those pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's a conversation we ought to have with the county to see if we can't formulate a better plan there, because I'm afraid I'm going to hit somebody there. Like I say, I'm down that street constantly, and it's like, and I'm like really careful because I know it's. And I've come close to clipping somebody that just all of a sudden decided to step out, or a kid run out that I didn't see. It's just kind of a bad situation there.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. But let's see. So basically, that's Third in a nutshell. We could do diagonal parking in this block face. But again, we'd be losing the center turn lane. Let's go look at Fourth.
I think the only place that the center turn lane is important there is, from observation, is right towards the end of that block. As it comes down and you're turning on to Grant.
Right, a left turn bay at
Back
Grant.
up the other direction. I don't hardly ever see anybody use it.
Yeah. Because it's kind of a hit and miss where we have left turn bays. Like you say, on 4th Street, we just have a center line, except at Grant, we come into this left turn bay at the signal.
Yeah.
And then in front of the courthouse, what do we do there? We basically basically like Third, where we have a left turn bay at Grant, a left turn bay at Texas because we have a signal here, and then there is a little bit of a left turn lane here mid-block. And then Fifth, I think is the same way. Let's see. And now see, Fifth is completely different. Fifth, we just have a double yellow center line all the way down from Grant to Texas. And same thing on the west side of Texas. We just have a center line. Yeah.
I think the thing that's different on Third Street is we've got both the police department there and we've got the courthouse there.
Yep, so
That's what
those are
makes
big
that
traffic
one a little-
generators.
Little busier, a little more
Yeah.
congested, and then you combine that with the, with the really poorly planned entrance into the police parking lot.
That
which is
driveway.
just off the corner.
Yep.
Then it makes that one a little challenging.
Yeah, that driveway.
Yeah.
So,
Sit
I
and
mean,
watch that all day, so
Yeah.
you get to see all the
See it all.
the circus.
so maybe Third Street is not ideal for diagonal parking.
I think we could further up to the west. I don't know that I would do it in that first block, but up further to the west, I think that would be,
Past Lee,
well, past the alley.
the
even.
alley.
Yeah.
Alan, we've got a lot of that big, heavy equipment that comes out of that police building as well, so we need to make sure that we don't impede that in any way.
Out of this drive,
But I do think
out of this-
Third is probably less of a good candidate than
Yeah.
Fourth, Fifth. Those guys, I think that would be pretty easy to
Yep.
do.
So, I mean, we can certainly look at Fourth and Fifth between Lee and Texas for diagonal parking. Have you noticed, has there been an improvement on Lee with the diagonal parking
Yes,
since you're there? Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Good. Yeah, we can certainly look at Fourth and Fifth diagonal parking and see what we can do in. Are you thinking outside of Lee and Texas, or right now you want to focus between Lee and Texas? I don't know what your
I mean,
thoughts
As
are.
far as between, as far as Fifth Street between Grant and Texas, I think I would like diagonal parking.
Okay.
It's a problem because the music school is there, and in the afternoons, parking is a big problem,
Okay.
and there are kids running across the street and parents and if we could have more parking spaces, I know it's an issue for John Harridge as well, because his people for his restaurant need a place to park.
Mm.
So if we could increase parking spaces there, I think that would be a great thing.
Okay. We can certainly do that. See what we can fit in. Okay. Anything else on downtown parking? Right now. It's an ever-evolving process.
I don't think so.
How do you want to show the concept for the parking lot?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
Yeah, that's,
So there's been lots of discussion. I know we've talked about it a long time about the parking lot. Basically, it's at Jackson 4th on the northwest corner where the old tire store used to be. Across the street from Torchy's. So what this is 4th, let's see, the 4th Street. This right here is the Jackson Street side. Torchy's is over here. North is this way. Basically, this would be a parking lot, and it's kind of distorted on this screen a little bit. But
good in the packet.
this is, yeah, in your packet's a better shot. What's what's the architect?
JSA.
JSA. This is their building. Their building is gonna come right up to the edge of the parking lot. With this plan, there's 40 spaces in here. There's one entrance off of 4th Street. Jackson won't have any access to the parking lot. It's got that new diagonal parking there. When we were undergrounding the utilities on the alley east of Texas, Encore needed to install some equipment for their service. That's what these two boxes are. That's why this is etched out in this space. So that is existing Encore equipment. If we're gonna need to get power for the lights for the parking lot. Encore's already told me I can get them from that equipment, so that's an easy fix. This is basically paving, medians, trees, parking lot lighting, bumper blocks on the Jackson street frontage to keep people from crossing that sidewalk. Right now, we're kind of leaning towards the idea of not bumper blocking the alley side so that people could access the parking lot from the alley. That's what just early initial thoughts. So that is kind of the overall plan. This is
How many square feet are in that whole,
of the parking lot.
yeah, that whole area?
That whole lot. Ooh, off the top of my head, I don't know.
How many spots?
How many spots or the
No,
square
how many,
footage?
how much square footage of
Yeah,
land? do we
square
actually have
footage. Square footage off the top of my head, I don't know. I can certainly get that because we have that on the plat.
Is that 39 extra spots?
40.
40?
40 extra spots. Yeah, in this parking space or in this parking lot.
And this is where Bailey Griffith Firestone used to be?
Yes. Yep. That exact piece of dirt. Yes. Yep.
I used to have a TV repair shop in the back of that building
You replace the tubes?
back then.
So this is our cost estimate for the parking lot. And basically, concrete work, dirt work, base, pavement, the electrical conduit, the lighting, basically that comes out to an estimate of $286,000 and change. And then you add contingency, you're a little over $300,000. We were originally talking about some extras on this project. We were talking about some possibly the trees in the parking lot. We were talking about that same decorative fence we used at the parking lot of Texas and 5th on the southwest corner that got that black decorative fencing. We were talking about that, using that on this project. We were talking about the irrigation system, possibly some flower pots. That would the alternates is an additional $71,000. But after Philip and I visited and kind of scaled down the project, we're thinking we could do the basic parking lot for the $313,000.
How many spots would you lose if you had this other?
Actually, the trees are already accounted for in the plan. These would be raised concrete medians with the trees in these medians. That's where we're sticking the lighting in those medians. So.
Has there been any thought given to that particular site to make it design-wise more of a multifunctional site, not only parking at the majority of the time, but also kind of leaving it a little bit more wide open so that when we have things like the street fair or the solstice or whatever we have down there, I know I was told that the the city council was, or some members of the council were not real keen on, they're wanting to move away from closing Grant down for events like that, shifting it over to Texas, and things like that. So, you know, we've also got the parking garage there, and so, you know, and just when I've been thinking about that side, you know, I kind of have thought more along the lines of making it very multifunctional, where it could be used for parking, but it could be a little bit more wide open, maybe not have the trees in the center, maybe we kind of put things around the edge of it a little bit more, so that you could use it as a venue for, you know, a stage, you know, farmer's market, all those kinds of things that you could have and make it a little more multifunctional.
That's certainly an option. I mean, if we got rid of, I keep pointing with my pen. If we got rid of these 3 center islands and pushed everything out to the perimeter, that means we just have to push our lighting out to those perimeter medians. But that's certainly an option. Yeah.
It just seems like an ideal site to me to give a venue for things like that.
Yeah, and it would,
Don't
you
you,
add more
I'm
parking lots?
not for doing away with lighting myself.
We would just have to put the lighting in these medians that are located on the Jackson and the alley frontage. So we could put the light poles in those medians, but we get rid of these 3 center medians in the middle of the parking lot. That's.
And I think as far as lighting it up adequately, that's more lighting design and the fixtures that we end up with and things like that. I mean, I think they probably make fixtures that
Yeah. There's.
adequately light.
Yeah, when I did this plan, I went to a local electrical vendor, and they came up with the plan for this lighting. So if we told them that those center medians would go away, I'm sure they could come up with a plan for lighting the parking lot using these exterior medians and keep the parking lot lit.
Could that add more parking spaces, or should be?
With removing those. Ooh, I don't know what that was. With removing those 3 medians, you'd probably gain 4, 6 spaces. So a net gain.
My thought is, and as you said earlier, but I'm not sure that I'm real keen on having people drive through the alley and get into the parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you get one of those things where somebody's coming in and there's one spot in there and the guy whips through the alley and whips over that spot. I think it ought to be, I don't know,
That's an easy fix with bumper blocks.
Right, yeah, and that's, I mean, I don't know, I just don't think, I mean, if you're gonna have a parking lot with an entrance and exit, then you go through the entrance of the exit.
No, I agree with that.
You know, cause I mean, if not, you're gonna have some, you know, and being it's in the center of the street is not a problem. If it's at the corner, then people have lined up in the corner, maybe trying to get in there, but in the center, I'm just not, I don't want people driving down the alley, you know, that's to try to beat somebody to the spot.
You know, I'm the guy who always wants to make things pretty. I'm a hairdresser, and
Can you make me pretty?
we'll talk about that later. I think about the parking lot right here at this building, and it has trees, and it has those medians, and to me that looks so much better than just a parking lot. And if you wanted to put a stage at the end of it, you could still do that. That's my opinion. So I'm not for doing away with that.
The only issue I can think of with putting all this stuff in the center is I think this is a temporary spot, that something should be built there. And until that's ready to happen, I mean, I don't want to spend a bunch of money running conduit and trees and concrete in the middle.
That makes sense too.
If we're gonna rip this out in 5 years for somebody to build
Hadn't thought of that.
something there, that's what I think about.
What would be, along those same lines, I mean, that's an interesting, what would be the options to do on the parking side and I'm kinda going back to flower pots now, but where we purposely designed it to be able to be, elements of it to be reused. So instead of doing a full-blown asphalt parking lot, blah, 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 where we do, I've seen them do it where they, they basically put down a caliche base, but then they tar and gravel it or whatever. It's not meant to last 20 years or 30 years. It's meant to last.
More, I can't think of the word, where you can move things around.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
we had
you
talked
put your,
about that.
you put your, instead of doing trees, you do the big pots or something, and you do those, because then they can be moved and reused if that does become a building site.
Because didn't we talk about that at Grant, on that block, rehabbing that parking lot, but using fixtures that were movable and, we could, just exactly what you're talking about.
So, and what's proposed actually now, in the cost that Hal gave you, the cost that's the 286, and then of course we would attach a contingency to that. That was putting in the flower pots and not the trees. There was an option to add the additional 71,000, and that would include the trees, the irrigation, and the fencing if we went that route. So it would just be the pots that would be in there that can be moved by our staff if
But
we need to do it.
even in the curb and gutter design and all, designing things with the realization that if something goes in there, they're still gonna need sidewalks around the outside, and they're still gonna need curb and gutter and things. But just kind of taking an eye towards design to realize this may be a temporary, a more temporary venue, as maybe something pushes in there, and we're able to attract another business down there, another Torchy's, or something, so that we haven't spent a boatload of money, but and some of the money that we spent, we can recover. We can reuse, remove. I think that would be a very great design idea to look at something like that.
I agree with that.
Where, Hal, from this parking lot, where's the old Odessa American building?
It's,
Locked down?
no,
Across the
it's right
street.
across the street over here.
Over here.
Okay.
That's where the building is, or where it used to be.
Cause that's, it's nothing firm yet, but that's, area that the college is looking at. Doing whether you have a stage, bring food
Yeah.
trucks, you could have those type of things. So, if
Well,
we
if
do
that's-
that, then
If that's the
this would
case,
be
we
more.
may need to be looking at this a little bit broader scale too.
Yeah.
So if that's part of the plan that OC is gonna push into that spot, then we may need to look at it a little bit more as a whole,
I mean, nothing's firmed up yet, but that's just, that was the
You have
thing
any
that was
ideas
mentioned to us, yeah.
A year timeline, or, any idea?
Nah, I'd say it's probably, at the minimum, 2 to 3 years.
So I think again, back to kind of the temporary nature of this.
Temporary of it would be.
To where we have, and I agree with you, that's something I had mentioned is, well, let's, on Saturday, when the businesses aren't using this, put some food trucks in there, or, have it be a versatile space like that, very flexible.
Is asphalt and tar and gravel same type of pricing?
Oh no, I would imagine you're talking a lot less. If we're not doing the curb and gutter, we're not doing the raised medians. You're talking a caliche with a oil surface on it, maybe to hold it together. You're talking a lot less. Yep.
Would you be able to kind of put together at least, just like you did here, just a preliminary budget on that?
Sure.
So we could,
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, from a budget from like I said, kind of like you did there, a couple, 2 or 3 different options. Say if we do this, we do this, that type of deal.
Okay. You have any more discussion on the landscape parking lots? I think there was another, there was another one back here.
Another item, sir.
Oh, that's another item?
Yes, sir. It's another agenda item, and this is for the Fourth and Grant.
Is that not
Parking.
downtown parking?
Well, I guess it is.
Okay.
At our last meeting, we discussed projects that the TIRZ board could potentially review that would be shovel-ready, fast projects to take place. And one of the items that staff presented was the parking lots that are on Fourth and Grant, incorporating an improvement to the landscaping that's on a Grant. That's of course a corridor to downtown, the main street per se of downtown. We had our Parks Department look at that, and they worked closely with a landscape architect firm that's helping us with other projects, including Floyd Gwynn Park right now. And they, on just a sketching basis, they looked at what it would cost to go back with turf, improve the trees, and put flower beds in those parking lots. Also add benches and bench seating, and they came up with a cost of about $99,000 to improve that landscaping. And I recall there was also a question about going to Xeriscape if we went to that. That in talking with the Parks Department and landscape architect, if you look in the section that's titled landscape, he would say deduct the fescue sod and the irrigation and replace that similar cost with crushed granite to go in that area. We were cautioned by the Parks Department, who does maintain and mow this area now. They have several other areas that have crushed granite. They said there's a lot of foot traffic in this area. They would be concerned of people messing up that granite and it causing more of a maintenance issue than they're seeing now. We have that crushed granite in front of City Hall now, and we experience rain. That stuff washes down the sidewalks, and it causes issues. So their suggestion for the board would be to look at the grass or the turf option, but they wanted to present that as discussion. And there's a schematic within your packet and also on the screen, and the cost there for discussion.
So did we look at artificial turf as well?
We did not get the cost for artificial turf in yet. We had 2 groups go out to measure, and we haven't received those. I apologize, I didn't get those in time for the group, but I'll make sure that we get those as well.
Now, this cost is $99. That is for both of them combined?
Both of them combined, yes, sir.
Not $99 for each?
No, sir. It's $99,000 for both. And this was, and I apologize, I also failed to mention this was improving the irrigation system and going to a drip system rather than the traditional above ground system.
I mean, personally, I don't know, well, but this is probably something that's going to be there for a long time. I mean, it's not something I don't think somebody's going to come and build a building on there. I wouldn't
I hope
think.
they do, but.
Well, yeah, but I think it'd be more permanent than the other one, I think, so, but,
Mr. Russell, we'll make sure that we get those turf prices in.
I'm a huge fan of turf.
Turf, okay.
I love it,
Yes, sir.
and it always looks good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we've gone over that. Any other questions on the landscape parking lots? All right, Alexa.
Hey y'all, how are you?
fine.
So an update for our events that we've had since the last time we met and what we have coming up. We just completed our Hot Summer Nights concert series. We did our last one in the park. There was some unscheduled maintenance going on over at the Ector, so we had to move the last one. But the turnout has been great all year. Almost about half of the ones that took place in the Ector were sold out as far as all the tickets that they could reserve in advance were full. Multiple nights we had to open up the balconies and even the standing room on the 3rd floor in the Ector. So very well attended, above what we normally see in the park. And then for the last one in the park, that was, definitely one of the fuller nights that you see outside in the park, and the weather was pretty much perfect. So we really couldn't have asked for a better ending to the season as far as that goes. Rough conservative estimates is that each night that we had a concert, we saw about 750 people on average, times the 8 concerts that we did this year. So that was a good draw to downtown, and I know that a lot of the food trucks and a lot of the local businesses kind of all said that they saw an uptick those nights. If you tried to go to Sidebar or Torchy's or eat inside the Marriott or something like that, there was always a group and a crowd. So that really accomplished what we were looking to accomplish. Coming up for the holiday season is the next time that we're really going to be doing some big pushes and have big crowds coming down here. Is coming up in December. We're having a full kind of season of programming, as it were. The Christmas parade will be back, the Parade of Lights, the first Saturday of the month. To go along with that, we're going to do something new, which we haven't done before. We're going to do a Winterfest kind of market before and after the parade. So for folks that want to come downtown, there's going to be some festivities while they save their space on the parade route, and some things to keep them down here lingering after the parade is done. So it's not just the parade rolls through and then the mass evacuation. So we're going to do that on that first Saturday as well as the third Saturday, which is the 18th of December. The 18th of December is also when we're going to do our teddy bear tea in the morning. So it'll be teddy bear tea in the morning and then the larger street festival in the afternoon.
What in the heck is the teddy bear tea?
It's a very upscale, elegant breakfast with Santa. So like a real life tea party, basically. And they get...
And that's held where?
We held it for the first time in 2019, and we held it inside of the Marriott. We're still getting pricing from the Marriott, and then we're also looking into the Copper Roads for this year. So we're not sure exactly where it would be this year.
It was very well attended.
Yeah.
Sure.
People will spend any amount of money on their children. You tell them Santa's going to be there and stuffed animals,
Yeah.
they're there.
And it was a great partnership with Medical Center. I
Yes.
know that the MCH logo was all over the bears. That was
Yes. And then finishing out for the holidays, we're also going to be doing New Year's Eve again, like we did in 2019. That was a sold out event. There wasn't even a seat for me. I didn't even eat that day. All the food was gone. So sold out. So it was a huge success. Obviously, we didn't get to do it in 2020, going into 21, but now hopefully 21 into 22, we'll be able to hold the second annual. So we're really looking forward to that.
Solstice, did you get attendance numbers on that? I know that was, what, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, that was back on the 24th, Saturday the 24th. We're still trying to schedule a debrief with the promoters to do kind of like a full debrief and get all the numbers. We've just had some scheduling conflicts come up to be able to...
It seemed like the attendance of that one was light. Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious as to why they thought that was.
You know, I have my
Is it
opinions on
women
it.
down this event?
I mean, we tried to help them as much as we could, you know, but, you know, you have to put the money behind it. If you don't put the marketing dollars out there.
So that was all privately done?
Yes, that was all privately done. There was no city expenses on that one.
Yeah.
Any other questions about any events or anything like that?
Well, I went to several hot summer nights, and I thought y'all did a great job. And I was the vote down for moving it to the Ector, but I really did enjoy it being in there.
I was about to say,
once air-conditioned.
Once you saw it come to life, you were a fan.
Yes, but it was nice to be back in the park. I
It was.
really enjoyed the mariachis, and it was a good crowd. And
Perfect
if we
weather
could
and a great night, yeah.
get some ordinance changed to get some drinks in the park.
Good luck with that.
But no, I applaud you. I know it's a lot of work, and you're doing it by yourself, and good job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Facade and infrastructure grant update.
So we've have quite a few, both that have been approved and that are coming or are starting the process. So we'll kind of start with the ones that have already been approved and are under construction. So the house is the soonest to be opened. That one was just doing infrastructure, and even the infrastructure that I needed was very light. They've already completed a majority of the work. They had to do a new roof. The roof is already done. They had to bring in new gas lines from the alley, and that's already done. They're basically just working.
This is which one?
This is the one that is located at 513 North Grant, the house. It's going to be an upscale kind of lounge.
Oh, okay, where the painting,
Next to Super B.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
You're right, it was
Yeah.
painted poppy?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and now it's going to be the lounge, the same owners of Elson and Luense. This is the same owners. It's going to be their second spot downtown. So that one is nearing completion. When I talked to the contractor about 2 weeks ago, he said that they were about 5 weeks in, and he thought that the total project would take about 8 weeks. So we're just within a couple weeks probably of them being completely finished and opened. And he said that he was more than happy to take anyone on a tour if anyone wanted to, do like a hard hat tour, even though they're not really doing any heavy construction. You're not going to need a literal hard hat. But you're more than welcome to go knock on his door and schedule that, and he'll take you right over. So that's Anthony at Part 2 Designs. He's more than happy to take anybody over there that has questions. As far as Nurses Unlimited building, that's going to become the cardiac office. That one, they are still doing the abatement and getting everything set for the asbestos abatement. Once that is complete, they have their contractors ready to come in. So they're just doing the preliminary steps of that and getting that done. And obviously that's a huge building and a huge property, so that'll take some time. They are looking that they're probably going to need the entire year that they're allowed under their contract to be able to complete that.
Is that gonna have some retail on the ground floor, is that?
That's
I
their
heard that,
plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
their
didn't
plan
realize
is that
when
they're
we
going to
did
have
that
some other stuff.
infrastructure grant, Then I heard that.
Mhm.
It was interesting.
Yeah, they have some retail space, and then they also have some office rental type space that they're looking to do in there too. So they'll have a few different things. It's not going to be just solely their cardiac office. And then finally, Icon Tavern, which is the 418 North Grant, the old Head Start building. That one, they actually at 2 o'clock today had a roundtable meeting with their contractors, their electricians, the plumbers, the architects, all of that, to kind of get everything finalized to get going. Their contractor had some health issues, and then they had some issues with scheduling with the structural engineer that's going to do all the steel work, that they're changing the front of the building, which is going to need to be, what they do first. So they're taking off basically the entire face and, making the balcony area on the second floor and then changing out the storefront on the first floor. So obviously that kind of needs to be done in tandem between the steel workers and the general contractor. So, both of them had issues scheduling conflicts and things like that. So they're about to get going. And like I said, 2 o'clock today, they had their meeting, everybody all together. So they're underway. They're not going to be opening in September anymore. They told me that they're eyeing early December probably for opening. So they got pushed back just a little bit. We actually have a grant application currently in process. There's a young lady that we've been talking to about 4 or 5 months now. That is going to be opening a upscale Western boutique on 2nd Street. So she was hoping to open in August this month, but she wants to apply for a grant, and I told her, there's not going to be a way that we're going to get you approved and you'll be able to get your work done. So as soon as her grant is approved, she's going to need about a week or so to get the work done, and then she'll be opening. So we're looking at probably an early September opening. For that one, and that one just cleared the downtown review board this afternoon, so it'll be going to ODC on the 12th, and then it will go to council after that.
And where is that? On Second?
That is 301 West 2nd. So it used to be the
UPS pump.
yes, UPS pump.
Okay.
So it's actually both properties that were parceled together there. One was bought by the daughter and her husband, and the other one was bought by her father. So the family bought both of those. So the father's about to.
What now?
The daughter's property is going to be an upscale Western boutique.
Okay. The other one, they gonna use it, or?
The father is going to start developing it within the next year or so, I was told, but they haven't given me any indication what it's going to be. So I don't have any more details, but once I do, they'll be forthcoming. And then finally, we've had some recent counseling sessions. Probably the next application we're going to see come in is a Facade application for Paradigm Physical Therapy. They have 2 different buildings, which are completely different structures, completely different addresses. So they are going to apply for Facade grants for both of them and redo their facades. So that's basically that whole.
Bill's finally gonna fix the big dent.
Yes, he is finally going to fix the big dent. That is his goal. he talked about that in the car and all that. So he told me the
It's
whole
only been
story.
that way for about 15
Paradigm.
years.
Well, yeah.
Where's,
You know.
where is
What is
two
that,
buildings? I know
seventh
where
and
one
Grand?
is, where's the second one?
He owns the building right next door to it.
Yeah.
Where the Avis is at. Is that
Oh,
the
he
other?
does?
Yeah.
The car rental lot?
Yeah.
He owns it, okay.
Yeah. So he.
Totally unrelated, but do we have any idea what is going on with the lot at the corner of 8th and Grant that they tore down the building? And it had a lot, it had a sign up for a long time that a law firm was gonna build an office there. 8th and Grant on the
Yeah, I'm not sure
north,
that,
northwest
The old-
corner.
The old Western Auto.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, and I've been, need to keep on our task list, as I've been told.
Yeah.
So, we do have our next item, where we can discuss that next time. So
But-
any other
No, that
facade
is.
and infrastructure updates?
That's the most solid information that I can give you. Anything else would be purely conjecture, and I don't like to foray into that.
Yeah. It's, we're staying in the lines, trying to. But that's absolutely something we can talk about next time.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank
Lynn.
you. So yeah, as far as number 9, call for future agenda items.
You wanna put
Would
that
we
on?
like to get
Yeah,
an
I'd like to see if we could find out what's happening with that 8th and Grant
Okay.
property. You know, like I say, when they tore it down, they had a sign up that it was gonna be a law office, and that was there for a while, and then they tore down part of it, and then they tore down some more of it, and now there's a little piece of it left, and
I guess along that line, we can't talk about it, but the strip center they built right next block down,
yes.
you know, there's a couple of those that are vacant. Do we know anything anything going in that, or is that, can we not talk about that?
Yeah, no, we're gonna do that next month.
Okay, do all that as well, okay.
Bill's
I think
gonna-
we'd like to have
Bill's gonna
updated
take
kind
care
of
of it.
things the things that are happening around,
Yeah.
what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, I may suggest just an item to discuss potential new business and
Okay, that'd be
Sounds
good.
good.
operations
Okay.
downtown, if that works.
Yeah.
Sound good?
That will work.
So we'll figure out everything and we'll have it ready for
Okay,
next month.
yeah, that way we,
Updates,
Discuss.
any other?
okay. Be good.
Any other items we wanna?
I'd heard some talk that there was maybe some conversations being had with Clover House about their property on, that's adjacent to the 08 property. Has anything,
We've not had any
you not had any discussions? Okay. I think we should have those discussions at some point.
I think that would go on that topic that Dan was talking about, you know, future.
Future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that way, that would all come under that, and we could, because between now and then, something else might come up, and it'd be,
Mhm.
so we need to be able to discuss that, so, yeah,
Yes, sir, we put it on the agenda.
okay, good. Because we have to wait till another meeting, we've already missed what's going on, so, yeah.
All right, so number 10, public comment. We added this in case anybody had something else to add. One thing that Dan and I did discuss was part of the Article 5 in the bylaws was the discussions. And it speaks about should any of us take a tour, I know Philip or Alexa brought that up, that there should be some sort of disclosure back to the board that we've been out having these discussions, and Mr. Jones said that under this public comment would be a good time to do that. And I know in my discussions, I met with Jackie Gore about, getting some of this stuff out to the OC kids. I've got a meeting scheduled with UTPB and with YPO, just trying to figure out how to get some of the youngsters involved in the discussion. So that's my comment. All right. I guess, do I need a motion to?
I move we
to
adjourn.
All right, we got 1 second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank y'all.